for the victory lap though. Whoa, whoa. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear. Yup, the champ is here, switch gears. We keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat and tears and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. 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 I know it's lonely at the top, but that's not by speculation. But the position that I got, I climb too high to fall, way too hard to drop. Stop clocks on the speed bag. Every out under pressure, no jet lag. This is greater than trophies and saluted flags. Titles of fame, the cost is paid. Yay, I carried the cross I made. Dealt with the dealer, baby the hand was played. New level, next stage. Learn to lead as a legend. Now tell me what's my next stage, yay. I said the champ is here, switch gears. We keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat and tears and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. 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 And today, we break through.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am really excited about today and what we're going to be able to talk about. My name is Bonnie Barnes. I'm a member of the Metropolitan Los Angeles YMCA Board of Directors. I want to welcome you to the first LAY's panel discussion about equity, girls, and sports. At the Y, we're really excited about girls in sports being able to get involved, to play, to keep playing all across Los Angeles. Sports are amazing. It's a joy to be part of it. You get to make friends, you get to get involved with others. There's teamwork, there's leadership. It's just exciting. In fact, yesterday I was really excited to watch the Super Bowl. Sure, I like the commercials. I especially like Jenny Long showing us how a Paralympian swimmer can be successful despite obstacles. It was also great to see that there were 2 female coaches and the first ever female referee of a major sporting event. Pretty exciting. Now, I'd like to turn this over to Carlin Bathe. She's pretty special too. She's a sportscaster. Her voice is on EA Hockey for video games. That sounds pretty cool to me. I'm sure she'll tell you more about herself and about a lot of others. Have a great time listening to some fantastic people.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. It's so great to see you. And we just so appreciate the work that you do championing for the same cause that we all do, which is equity in sports. And your work with the YMCA has just been so admirable. So I'm honored to be introduced by you. Glad you enjoyed the Super Bowl as well, as I'm sure we all did. And welcome to everybody who's watching us here today. Like Bonnie said, my name is Carlin Bathe, and I'm joined by 3 Olympians who you're going to hear from about how they've kind of progressed through their careers and how they feel about gender equity in sports. And some of these questions that I have here are curated by those from the YMCA, and it's going to lead this discussion that's just so important to all of us. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce these 3 incredible women. And we're going to start off with representing Team USA Olympic Hockey, Molly Schaus. Molly, can you say hello to everybody out there in the internet world?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm really excited to be here today and answer some of your questions.
And then we've got representing Team Jamaica Track and Field, Siobhan Nieto. Siobhan, hello.
Hello.
And we've got your baby with us too.
Yeah.
Somewhere, right? Somewhere. Might make an appearance, might not. But we have learned the baby is on. And then representing Team USA Olympic Artistic Swimming, Daniela Ramirez. Daniela, hello.
Hello, everyone.
My goodness, ladies, this is going to be such a great discussion and something on a topic that's just so important to all of us here. So we're going to start right off with Molly. And Molly, one of the questions was, how has the world of sports and the Olympics opened your eyes to diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And I think quite literally, playing hockey has allowed me to travel the world. It opened my eyes literally to going to new countries and meeting athletes from all around the world, which is really unique. And for me, playing ice hockey, I think everybody knows growing up, that's a little bit more of a male-dominated sport. So understanding that as I was growing up and being one of the only girls on a team, and then as I got older and playing in the Olympics, or obviously the ongoing fight for pay equity and gender equity in women's hockey, women's soccer, you're seeing it left and right. So I think for me, the world of sports has really opened my eyes, going from that little kid who just fell in love with the sport to really understanding the platform that we have as athletes to speak up and try to engage with one another to really make a difference.
Molly, great answer. And also congrats on your jersey being retired at your former alma mater. That is just so stinking cool. I wanted to make sure that everyone here got to know that happened to you. That's so awesome. You were the first female that happened to as well, correct?
I was the first female hockey player. There's one other female at Boston College. It really was an incredible experience. I can't be more grateful to Boston College and the education I received there, but just a chance to come back on campus and celebrate with everyone who made that journey possible. It's one of my favorite moments.
So incredible. Siobhan, this next question. It's asking for an example of how you've befriended someone from a different background, a different culture, or other part of the world through sports. How have you kind of made like a special connection with somebody, regardless of location, just through the world of sport?
Well, just making the Olympic team was just an amazing opportunity for that. When we competed overseas, I've competed in Athens and in Beijing. And, when you're there, you see people from different countries and women from different countries. And hello, do you want to get in the conversation?
We'd love to hear them. Well, let's bring them in. Come on. This is a part of being the incredible woman that you are. You're also an incredible mom. Look at this. That's all he wanted. He just wanted his mama.
Right. So competing around the world, we get a chance to meet people from all over, and some people that speak English and some people that don't speak English. But that was the great part about it, that we had representation. Not only were we there representing our country, but representing as women. And to some countries, as you know, they don't really see that, so to be there and communicate and talk with the athletes was just amazing. Because like I said, not everyone spoke English,
right?
But when they saw you, they had just enough, just to say, hello and pin and picture. And it was just a great moment, as an Olympic athlete, to be there and be amongst, people from different cultures, different languages, but yet still be able to bond through sports.
Kind of puts the emphasis on the world of sport kind of being the universal language. Really, everybody can understand by watching, and you don't even have to speak words. That's an incredible answer as well. Daniela, what is something that sports has taught you that's made you a better person? Your world of artistic swimming, for anybody who hasn't seen it, is just like almost a beautiful language in itself when you're watching it too. So having, gone through many years of training for this, what's one of the biggest things that's just made you become a better person, a better version of you?
Honestly, I feel like artistic swimming is all about like showing the best version of you.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in sport, you're always striving to be the best person that you can be, and you're always striving to be perfect. But a lot of times in artistic swimming, it's a little bit too perfect, and finding that balance between being a good person that is this perfect artistic swimmer and being someone who is also like vulnerable and not perfect and not always the right body type. It's taught me to really like find self-love in a world where it's always super superficial, and just trying to find that it's been really cool to see that in artistic swimming.
Now, some of these questions you might hear repeated and bounce back to everybody because we want to get everybody's different take on it, right? So, Daniela, this one's coming back to you. And how has the world of sports and training for the Olympics kind of opened your eyes to diversity and equity and inclusion?
I think in artistic swimming, it's kind of unique just because it really matters about what your body type is and like how you carry yourself in the water. And depending on your body type, you can carry yourself completely different from other countries. And on it, like people from Jamaica are built completely different than the Russians. So they're going to have completely different strengths than I think they're going to, like other people might have. So having that diversity and seeing them play to their strengths, it makes artistic swimming super, super unique. And you can see people's cultures in the way that they swim. And it's a form of artistic expression, and everyone expresses differently. And within each country and each person, it's going to be different. So it's super cool to watch people swim and see how they're going to interpret things differently. Sometimes people will swim to the same music, and it's completely different worlds.
Right. Like the choreography is just so different, even if you're listening to the same track.
Yeah. And people can bring out different things about themselves. People can express different things to the same music. And it's a really cool thing to see.
That is so awesome. Siobhan, this next one's for you. What is something that sports has taught you that's made you a better person today and just over time? I mean, you're a mom now, you're a wife, you're also a singer. Doing some research on you, I've seen, you have a song out, like you're just this completely just well-rounded human. And how have sports kind of taught you to become the person that you are?
Well, sports, I say, no matter what sport it is that you do, sports has definitely shaped me, and I believe shapes, all the individuals that have played at at any level.
Yeah.
Sports teaches you how to be on time. Sports teaches you that you don't always win. Sports teaches you that you have to pass the ball, or just be, pick up your teammates if they're behind in the group. Sports teaches you so much. I believe that it has shaped my life. It has prepared me for everything that I have had to face outside of the track in my life, which I've had some difficult moments, whether it's off the track with my husband or within the music.
Yes.
Has made me a stronger person. It definitely has made me the person who I am. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you kick a ball, if you're swimming, if you're throwing, it doesn't matter what you do. It's like, find a sport, that you like, and then let it shape your character. That's what I believe sports is.
Chiffon, just piggybacking off of what you said, if you could share a little bit of your story. You have a really incredible story with the things that you and your husband have gone through, and just to emphasize how much deeper sports can really infiltrate someone's personal life. How did that really kind of aid the relationship that you two have had to have these past few years? Because your story is truly incredible, and I'll let you kind of touch on that.
Okay, 1 second.
Oh, so cute.
Okay. You like that? Okay. So I'm a new mom, obviously, but no, yes. My husband, if some of you guys know or doesn't know, he's also a 2-time Olympian on the jump for USA, and he was in an accident in 2016 that left him paralyzed from the chest down. And from that moment, I remember when that moment came, and I was looking at him on the bed in the hospital, and they said that he was paralyzed. At that point, I knew that, okay, this was going to be one of the biggest challenges that I've ever had to face. But being the athlete that I am, and knowing, how difficult it is to train, and, say that, okay, I can get on the podium to win an Olympic gold when that's less than 1% of the world,
Right.
It was in a world that actually achieved that, but say that I can, and looking at that obstacle where the chances are less than 1% to recover, I said, okay, this wasn't the first time I was hit with a challenge. So I knew that, okay, I was going to go after that. I knew that the determination, the fight, the workouts, all the hard training wasn't going to be anything compared to this, but it was going to be enough to prepare me for what I had to go through with my husband. And we took it as that. I believe that all those tough days on the track, and just the obedience that you learn, that you have as an athlete, has helped us to get through this moment.
Well said, Siobhan. And this next question here is for Molly. Molly, can you give an example of how you've befriended someone with a different background, a different culture, and just another part of the world through sports? And you kind of touched on this a little bit already, but if you could just kind of emphasize how hockey's just led you to some beautiful friendships, regardless of location or culture or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Siobhan touched on it earlier, just in the Olympic Village in the dining hall, and walking through and seeing people from 200 different countries all eating together. And you just maybe watch them compete and say congrats or wish them good luck or whatever it is, that unity in the village. But one experience for me in particular, because during the Olympics, I know ice hockey goes for the whole 2 weeks, so we're pretty locked down and pretty focused. But in 2016, I had a chance to go to the Youth Olympic Games in Lillehammer, Norway, as an athlete role model.
Wow.
And so I spent 2 weeks there with 15 other athlete role models, all from different countries and different sports. And we remember sitting around at that first dinner, and within 5 minutes, we all had bonded over something through sport. Like Siobhan said, we might not have all spoken the same language. We certainly didn't grow up in the same culture, same background, same family, but we bonded through sport. And so for those 2 weeks, I tried out different sports. We would talk to them about their training, the access or parity in their country. And just really, I never knew anything about Olympic badminton or archery or you name it. And so being able to just understand their journey as an Olympic athlete and share those stories and then turn around and share those with the next generation of athletes. It was 15 to 17-year-old kids who half of them are already competing in the Olympic Games. And I think really learned a lot through those 2 weeks. And really the focus was on friendship and unity and celebrating sport for what it was. And so I think that experience really emphasized what the Olympics are all about. And it was really neat for me to take a step back, and I wasn't an athlete anymore. I got to enjoy everything that the Olympics are about. And I think that was a very powerful 2 weeks in my career.
What's a powerful takeaway from all of these stories so far for any young person that's watching and listening? You can take what these ladies are doing and have done on the world stage and apply that to your own local community and use sport like how they have as the vehicle to make those friendships, to make those connections with maybe someone you wouldn't have normally, and use that as your language, even in your own hometowns. So you all are just so incredible having done this on the world stage. And it's so nice because I feel like these young people can take from you and apply that to their own high schools and middle schools and elementary schools right here in this very moment in time. So with that section being over, we're going to go on to section 2 here and have a new little group of questions for everybody here. This one's going to start with Daniela. What would you tell your 12-year-old self about the value of, in your case, swimming and why you should just keep swimming and don't give up? What would you tell your younger self if you could?
I would tell my younger self, oh my gosh, that it's not always going to be about you. Even if you're swimming alone, you're always going to have people behind you. And especially my team, now that I know what it is to be on a team that will pull you if you're having a really bad day and get you out of a funk. You can always be that person for someone else, and it doesn't always have to be about you, and your successes can be shared, and having that shared moment with 8 other girls or 9 other girls, it's more valuable than I think anything that I could have accomplished in the pool by myself.
How in sync do you find yourselves, just going off of that answer too, how in sync do you find yourselves being with your teammates outside of the pool too? Because the stuff that you all do is literally to the beat, like hockey's its own beast because you're all working as like a machine, right? Track and field is its own beast because if one succeeds, you all succeed. But literally in artistic swimming, you all have to be in sync. Does that transfer over into real life too? Or maybe you're finishing each other's sentences or you have the same thoughts and ideas?
Actually, yeah, sometimes we'll have the same thought at the same time and you're like, oh no, we're becoming like the same person. All of a sudden you're like all one entity and you're like, okay, wait, I need my own personality right now. I need you guys. And you end up like, sometimes if you listen to the same song every day over and over and over, it's just like 2 minutes of the same song. And so you can say like 2 beats and they'll be like, oh, I know what part that is. And they'll start like talking about
you
that.
Just start
like
doing the moves and stuff too.
Yeah. And you're like, how do you even know what part I was talking about? Or we'll start singing the same songs or doing the same movements. And you're like, I think our brains are connected, but I don't know if I want to be so connected to you. But yeah, it's crazy.
That's incredible. Siobhan, this next one's for you. Do you believe that sports figures should and can lead change in the world?
Absolutely. I think that, an athlete, when you look at entertainment, or if anyone, it doesn't matter if you're in sports or not, everyone watches television and everyone watches a little television. Hold on.
He's like, I want to watch television. What's the television you're talking about?
Mommy's going to answer the question. Okay. Look at them. Look.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, so precious.
I know. I just love that he's a part of this too. This is like real life, and I'm loving it right now.
Right. Right. But like I was saying that, everyone watches television, listens to music, hopefully I've watched some Olympic games, and when we listen to those things, we listen to it for, messages, things to inspire us, whether it's music or whether it's a TV show to entertain us.
Yeah.
So, as athletes and entertainers, we are there to, influence and to, hold on, buds. Hold on. Okay. To influence people, So when we have that platform and we're someone's favorite,
I think you're his favorite. I can tell. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, little man.
when we have that platform and we're able to, be there to entertain someone, our favorite singer, an actor, or athlete, whatever it is, I think we have the opportunity to share, what's going on.
Yeah.
Share our thoughts on certain things because, even we might be someone's favorite swimmer, someone's favorite runner or actor. And if we said that, hey, this is how I feel on a situation,
you can almost use your platform for good, and you can spread more messages just like anybody else would that has that big of a stage, right?
Yes, and then I like to say that we're more than just athletes, So like, okay, what is Siobhan's view on this topic? What is Siobhan's view on this topic? So I do think that's a great thing to, share our opinion.
Of course. Next one we're gonna go to. He's just the cutest thing. Look at him. He's like a star already, just on the screen. Like, what's up, everybody? How we doing? Here's my cup. I'm gonna smash it. So cute. This next one's from Molly. Molly, what values of yours overlap with the values of the Olympics? So if there are any kind of through lines that you see in your own life, your own values, and what the Olympics stand for, if you could share those with us, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of overlap, obviously, with the Olympic values of excellence, friendship, respect. I think for me, I identify with all those, but I think the big one that I've learned through sport is respect. Whether that's respecting yourself and your training, your teammates and what they're putting on the line, and obviously respecting all of your opponents. But I think as Siobhan was just talking about, I think it goes a step further into our everyday lives and just being respectful of everyone around us. We all have a role as an athlete, as a family, as a friend, coworker, as a citizen in this world, to just be respectful of one another. And especially nowadays, when a lot of people don't agree on everything, I think that's all right as long as you treat one another with respect. So like I said, I think I identify with a lot of them, but I think that's been one of the core values that my parents instilled in me. And I think I've seen it transcend sport and into my everyday life.
The next question here is for you also, and it's the one we had just asked Siobhan, do you believe that sports figures should and can lead change in this world?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like every sport leader on a team, everybody leads a little bit differently. So I don't think you have to be this mega superstar, tweeting out to your 5 million followers to be a leader or to enact change. So whether that's a local level, speaking on panels, going to schools. I was that 12-year-old when an Olympian came and spoke to my school, and that changed my life. And I'm sure at the time she didn't think anything of it. So you never really know what platform you have, what interaction you have. My dad always talked about ripples. So every interaction you have to make a good change or an impression, you never know the ripples that might happen down the line or the lives it might impact. So I definitely agree with Siobhan. I think kids innately look up to athletes, and I think we have a really special platform to use. I think Julie Foudy says it best in her book, Choose to Matter. It doesn't matter if you're an Olympic athlete, a mega star, movie, just everybody can make a difference and lead in their own lives.
Absolutely. And again, kind of going back to the stage that you've all been presented with, which is the world stage, right? Anybody can make those same choices, whatever level of the world stage that they're at, and choosing to be that way is so important, especially knowing that the ripple effect is a real thing. You could be encouraging a friend to try a new sport. You could be encouraging a friend to, do better in school. And it's like those small little moments can have huge impacts on people. So it's great to see you ladies just having that big of an impact, and know that anybody also can try and join that same energy that you're putting out in the world and make the impact where they are as well. Daniela, what values of yours overlap those of the Olympic values that we've mentioned already?
I think just discipline in everything that I do, and just being super perfectionist and not settling for less than I know that I'm capable of is something that the Olympics and the Olympic journey has really taught me. And I think trusting yourself and others is also something that I think I've had to really, really come to terms that I need to trust myself, so that I can trust these 8 girls that they're going to support me through whatever, and that their successes are my successes, and trusting that everything is going to be fine as long as I do my job. And it's been a really, really amazing thing to see how all of those values really come into my life, and I can put them into like my work or into school, and being a perfectionist in other areas, or even doing things like this where I can be a good influence on other people. It is really cool to see that they overlap in so many places.
A line you just said was, their successes are my successes. Can you elaborate on that and why that's so important? Because I think sometimes growing up, kids, when they're trying to decipher the world of sport, they may think, I have to be the best, I have to be the champion. How important is it to lift those teammates? And like you said, that creates kind of a community success, not just a solo success.
Yeah, in artistic swimming, I think it's almost literal that you lift other people up, because constantly I'm like throwing.
You literally are.
So like literally my success in doing my job is going to get her super high into the ceiling, and me doing my job is going to give us a bigger score, and that score reflects all of our hard work and everything that we put in together. And being, I think, selfish, the only way that I think I would ever be selfish in my team is being selfish, where I am going to put in the most work so that I can be the very best thing for you and not for me. It's going to be so that you can get higher, you can do better, you can be stronger, because I'm going to push you, and that's how we're going to get better, because I'm going to do it for you. So I think that's something that I think artistic swimming is super, super unique in that my success is actually literally your success. And it's real. Yeah.
Well said. Very well said. Siobhan, what would you tell your 12-year-old self about the value of, track and field, and sticking with it and working hard every day to get to where you are?
I would tell myself, my 12-year self, that yes, you can. As a younger kid, from early ages, I've always had just the biggest dreams, and I'm like, why are my dreams like, okay, you have to do the thing that only 1% or less of the world can actually achieve. But I did. I had the dream at 8 to be a singer, and then to be an Olympian, and to do all the things that I want to do. And I still have other dreams that I want to do in my life. But, I believe that I could, and I believe that that's the only thing that matters. Even going through, life and being where I'm at right now, I believe that I can make an Olympic team when other people may not have believed that I could make an Olympic team or do the things I've done, but I believe that. So I feel that if you have a dream and you want to do something, you need to remember that you're your own cheerleader. Don't look for any other person to,
Right.
that for you. Just go with what you want to do. I have my younger kids at South Pasadena High School out here, and my kids will ask, they'll say, Coach, do you really think that I can run this fast, or do you really think so? And do you want to? And they say yes. Well, then why not? So then you do the things that it takes to get there and not to be discouraged. So at a young age, I had those dreams and I said, I'm going to go after them. So I say that to any young person that's young and has a dream and say they want to do something, go ahead and try.
I kind of want to use the last part of that and go back to Molly and Daniela real quick. Molly, I'll start with you. Say a younger person is discouraged, and we like to talk about the positives of sport and the positives of what it can bring to our lives, but there can be some adversity or challenges for people, and when the going gets tough, what would you tell a 12-year-old version of yourself when the going gets tough and it's not all sunshine and rainbows? How do you pull through and persevere?
Absolutely. And I think Siobhan said it best. You have to believe in yourself. Ultimately, it's your dream and your goals that you're setting. But I think it's really important to surround yourself with a really good support system. You're going to lose a lot of games. You're going to have injuries and setbacks. But the people I turned to first were my family and my closest friends who loved me and cared for me, whether or not I was a hockey player or a goalie. And having those people throughout my life, I think it's definitely made the biggest difference in me being able to make it through some of those hard parts. And I think I listened to a podcast this morning, and Sarah Nurse, she's on the Canadian Olympic women's team, said, bet on yourself. They said, how do you stay focused? She said, I bet on myself and I believe in myself. And even now, as an adult, I still think that's really great advice, and she put it really well. So I think it goes back to remembering why you chose to do it. Sports should be fun. You should love it. And then surrounding yourself with a really good support system to really help pick you back up when those times are tough.
And Daniela, same for you. If you could elaborate on that as well, when it isn't sunshine and rainbows and it does become tough, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self that other people's value doesn't decrease your own, and you're still worth something, even if others are better at you in this moment right now. That doesn't mean that you can't get there eventually. And them being better than you right now is only pushing you to be better. And if you shy away from this challenge, you're never gonna forget that, and you're gonna regret it. And I don't want to live with any regrets.
Love that. And when it comes to constructive criticism too, if there are people that are down on themselves or thinking, I'm not enough or whatnot, think about who you're listening to as well. And all these ladies are talking about support systems, right? If you are hearing something that maybe a parent wouldn't tell you or your best friend wouldn't tell you, maybe you don't have to take it in the same way that you would if a loved one told you. So try to listen to your loved ones rather than kind of the critics, right? So I feel like you all have demonstrated that by talking about your strong support systems and how they've all lifted you. So we've got a next round of questions here, and it's starting with Daniela. And can you give an example of how you've befriended someone from a different background, culture, or other part of the world through sports?
Oh man, there's been so many. Well, first of all, my coach, Andrea Fuentes, she is from Spain, and she is the biggest social butterfly, and she is the most decorated Olympic swimmer in Spain, like in the history of women. And I think that's super, super impressive. So to have her on my team is something that has opened a lot of doors to meeting new people. And she will bring in so many new people to help us with things. And it's really, really cool to see how each country has their own type of discipline and what they value. And so I've met countless people from Slovakia, and I just befriending her and having her be at the pool every day has been super cool, because she will ask us a lot of questions about the US and like why things are this way and how things are different here. And it's actually really cool to see how Europe is so different and they have such different values than us and in the US. And I've had so many opportunities like that.
What's one of the biggest highlights from a different culture, whether it's hers or another's, that you've kind of adopted and thought, wow, I really want to bring this into my technique or my way of life? Or what's something that you've taken from and adopted into your own life?
We had a Russian come and we had a sort of exchange thing, and they always took on every challenge as like something super positive, and they never shied away from anything. And they would push. Usually when you go into a really hard workout or something that really scares you, you're not going to go full out because you're scared of like not making it to the end. But whenever she would go into something, it was super impressive that she would go in 100%. And I was like, wow, having that type of like fearlessness is something super admirable that I think I'll carry with me forever.
That's awesome. It's like you adopted their mentality of, you know, how to go into things, the positivity. That is so great. Molly, what's something that sports has taught you to make you a better person?
Yeah, I think a lot. Like all of us on this panel, our lives have really been shaped by sport. If I had to choose one, I think I would use accountability. I think at a young age, I talked about it earlier, I realized it was my dream I was chasing, and obviously a lot of people were there to support me, but some of my friends, that wasn't their dream. So they made different choices, and I knew I was accountable really to myself and my teammates and my coaches. And as I got older, that accountability to get good grades, to get into college, to balance, college sports with the national team and training for the Olympics. And I think as I've transitioned out of sport and into more business, the accountability to my coworkers and my job and my family. And really, if you say you're going to do something, follow through and do it. And I think that I was taught that at a young age, because if you let your teammates down, there's really no worse feeling. So I think in all aspects of my life, accountability has played a big role.
How do you choose accountability, especially at a young age, if you do see teammates or friends making other choices? Like maybe, somebody skips a practice, or maybe somebody likes to do something different than you. How do you choose to stay accountable for yourself, and what kind of tips would you have for somebody?
Yeah, it can get hard sometimes, especially, middle school, high school, everybody's doing different things. And I was pretty steadfast on my goal was to play in the Olympics. I think everyone's accountable for their own choices. We all have our own responsibility and to do what we think is right or what's important to us. But I mean, I'm human. There's definitely times where you make choices and you deal with the consequences. And I think you do that once or twice and you realize that's not worth it. I don't want to let my teammates down. I don't want to let myself down. So I think kind of live in the moment and do what's right in that one day at a time. And it can get overwhelming to think, 15 years from now, I want to compete in the Olympics. It doesn't work that way. It's one choice, one decision. Do the best that you can that day and then learn from it and go back and tackle the next day. But forgive yourself sometimes. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Just get back up and try better the next day.
One day at a time mentality is a great one to have, because we've all got hopes and dreams, and it does look kind of daunting when you look at the big picture of Olympics. How do I get there? So one day at a time is for sure a great way to start. Siobhan, how has the world of sports and Olympics kind of opened your eyes to diversity, equity, and inclusion?
I would say that sports has opened that up to know that there's a lot of challenges and a lot of people want the same things in life. That's what I would say. When it comes to sports and competing and being from different countries, and it's just everyone's competing in life, and what sports shows me about that is that, there's only one spot. So the thing is that if you want something, you have to go out and get it. You have to be determined. You want to make a statement. You have to do that. And I always tell my kids that, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. If you want the easy road, this is not what it is. Sports is not your thing, because if you want to do good, you have to try and you have to work very, very hard. And when that deals with the world on any basis, no matter what it is that you're trying to achieve, it shows you that there's only 3 spots, as they say, gold, silver, bronze, and you have to be dedicated and committed to the things that you want in sports, and as an athlete being in sports. And going after the gold medal and all the goals and the things that I set forward for myself, being a woman and competing and showing that you can do something, you can achieve something. Going to the University of South Carolina, we were the first team in South Carolina history to win an NCAA championship. That was a special moment for us, and just breaking the records. Those are things that people don't do, but as athletes, you have to know that the great things in life, it's going to be challenging. It's going to have a lot of competition. There are going to be a lot of no's, a lot of losses, but you keep your head in the game. And that's what I believe that sports, being a woman in sports and just across the board in life, that shows you that you have to keep your eye on that prize.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it.
Looking at equity, gender equity on a smaller scale for people who are in school now. An example from my youth, Siobhan, I had the hockey jerseys that we had to wear were hand-me-downs from an past, high school guys hockey team. And it wasn't fair, because equity should mean fairness regardless of the gender, right? It wasn't fair that we didn't get the new jerseys like the guys hockey team did. So for women in their own schools right now who are fighting for those different types of equities, maybe the better practice time, maybe the Saturday afternoon games rather than the Tuesday 9 p.m.s, or the things that make it more fair for women when they're younger. How can those women speak up, make their voices heard, and fight that small battle first of just gender equity in their own schools?
Right. It's the small things that make the big difference in everything that you do. And you always have to start small. You have to where you are, on your team with the boy jersey, or, you don't want to wear the lollipops or something that it is that you have to compete in. You have to start where you are and know that your small voice will be heard as long as you continue to be heard. No change can't happen if you don't step up to the plate, if you don't open your mouth, if you don't, go out there and excel, if you're doing well and you're showing your commitment at your school, and all of a sudden one day, you know what, hey, we deserve to give you a uniform that is for you. We don't want to give you the boys' uniform anymore. We're on the track team. There's been many times at my high school track team, and it's like we didn't have a track. We had to run on dirt, but we ran on the dirt until they gave us a stadium. At South Carolina, when I chose to go to University of South Carolina, our school, we didn't have the locker rooms with the fancy big TVs and, all these fancy stuff on our campus. But, we had a great team, a great coach, and we decided to go there. But when we were there, we worked hard. And because of us, the team today has a new track. They have the locker room. They have the uniforms and all that great stuff. But it took us running on the dirt track. It took us, not having the best uniform. It took us to get the things that they have today. So, you have to be that voice, even if you're just one voice, and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and go after it and do it well. You have to show them that, look, you deserve to be here. I do have a voice, and you're going to listen to me. And that's what opens the doors, that continuous striving forward. And that's why all of us are here today, because of the people that didn't have the uniforms that fit them, but still said, I'm going to play and I'm going to do it good. And now we all have uniforms.
It's well said, and so true. If you think you're opening a door now and you don't see maybe the fruits of you opening that door immediately, you're opening that door so it's easier for the people behind you, the people that are coming up on the rise, that can now walk through the door rather than having to bang on it and open it first. So that's a great point to make, in that it's not going to happen today. It might not happen tomorrow, but you banging on that door makes it easier for someone else to walk through in the future. So that's great. A great way to phrase that. And that is so awesome. Our next question here is for Daniela. Let's see. do you believe this? We've asked this one to the other two already. Do you believe that sports figures should and can lead change in this world?
100,000%. I think
Yeah.
when you get a platform like we do have, where you're a respected figure and people know that you worked hard to get where you are, and you become a role model to other people and people who are younger than you, and people who are able to be influenced, you almost have a responsibility to make sure that that influence is a positive one.
Yep.
And you have that power and an opportunity with all these people now watching you to make a good impression on them, and to make sure that you make a change in how, whatever your community is, how they're viewed and what they represent.
Absolutely. Ladies, this conversation has been incredible. All of the questions that the YMCA provided, just got some great stories out of all of you today. And we want to end on something that is geared toward all of the young women that are listening to you today. We just would love to hear your advice, and why sports, why do sports have this impact that it does in your life? Why maybe choose to pick up the sneakers or the swim cap or the goalie pads? Why should somebody take those steps and start to explore this world? And Molly, I'll start with you as we wrap things up here.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for me, my advice or why sports is the community that you become part of. Your teammates. Sports is a small world, especially women's sports. And I think the people I've met through it, whether it's teammates, competitors, panelists, you meet people in sport every day, and it's such a wonderful community to be part of. I think everyone supports each other. And for me, it helped with confidence a lot. I know I was a really shy, awkward 12-year-old kid, and we moved around a lot. And for me, sports was my way to fit in and to make friends and to feel that I belonged. And I think that stuck with me all through life. Is I'm more confident in who I am and what I'm capable of because I played sports, and because I was in different situations and had to go through adversity and set goals and persevere. So why sports? For me, it's the people in the community, and it's where I feel most comfortable and confident in life.
Well said. And Daniela, for you, why sports? Why swimming?
I think it was almost the same for me. I wanted a place where I could fit in and I could find my community. And I think with artistic swimming, I've always been an artistic person, and I finally found a way to put sport and art together. And I think that's why artistic swimming is so perfect for people who are into dance and into swimming and into the water and want to have a place where they can express themselves, but also you can feel so strong and just capable of anything when you overcome things in sports. And you might not see it as the biggest thing in the world when you get over the mountain that you think that you're on right now, but once you get over it and you see another one, that you can get through anything.
Absolutely. And Siobhan, we'll end with you. Why sports, and particularly for you, track and field?
Yeah. Well, like Molly and Daniela said, one of the key things, it definitely made them feel really confident. I feel that sports, shapes your life, and all the things that we have to do as athletes to show up, to work hard, and to be there for our teammates. It shapes your character. And when you work as hard as we work as athletes, Molly and Daniela can say, your confidence is very high, because you have to be ready and feel that, okay, I'm ready for this match. I'm ready for this race. I'm ready. And it feels good when you put the work in, because we get to see the results. That's how we can work on ourselves, as athletes. We say, we want to be faster. We want to throw farther. So we put in the work, and we get to see the results of that. And it makes you feel really good when you tackled something that is hard to do, something that's like, okay, not everyone can do this, but I feel that I can do this. As an athlete, it feels really good. I'm very happy that I chose the sport I have, and just to say that I am an athlete, because we are very strong. We're not only strong athletes, but we're strong women. And when we get out there every day and we play our sports and we get our muscles and we get fit. You know what I mean? We really feel that we can just take on the world. Right, ladies? I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
And that feels really good. It feels really good. To this very day, I think about all my experiences on the track and just around the world. And I don't regret any part of it. I'm thankful that I've been able to say that I'm an athlete. You know, I meet people all the time, and it doesn't really matter if you only ran track in your high school years or junior high school. When I meet someone, they say, "Oh, I used to run in high school." It's like, well, you know what it means. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yep.
know, because you've experienced that challenge, even if it's at the high school level, you know, and you had fun doing it. Also, what's really important too. But, you know, I definitely believe I'm so thankful for sports in our life, and just to, you know, be a woman. I think, you know, Molly and Daniela, you know, just as athletes, as girl athletes, we're always ready to go up against the boy and, you know, and say, okay, let's go, you know. And I think that as women, we should continue to raise that bar and say, okay, let's show you how good we are.
That was awesome, Siobhan. And like she's mentioning, it's just you all get to display this on the world stage, right? And you get to apply this to your real lives and kind of use the world of sport to be the best versions of yourselves. And like you're saying, Siobhan, it can start at any level. It can be when you're in high school. You could just participate in track and field during your senior year. But everything that you're talking about, ladies, about the discipline and the things that this can teach you, it's valuable no matter how long you participate. So get moving and get grooving, everybody who's listening. And from what you're hearing from these ladies, it sounds like you will not regret it. So that's going to conclude our incredible conversation today. And Molly Schaus, Daniela Ramirez, Siobhan Nieto, thank you so much for bringing your inspiration, your stories, and your point of view to this extremely important topic, and just describing how important this really is for people, not just women, but really, truly just people can learn anything from what you all were talking about today. And I cannot thank you enough for sharing yourselves. So we really appreciate it, ladies. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're going to turn it back now to another really important lady. Bonnie Barnes, are you still with us in
I'm
the wings?
still there. I've
There
been
she is.
fascinated by everything you've had to say. Thank you, Carlin, Molly, Siobhan, Daniela. I have always thought that sports inspires and teaches us on and off the field. All four of you have totally proved that today. And Daniela, best wishes for Tokyo. I'll be cheering. I bet everybody else on this call will be too. For those listening, I want to make sure you know what you can do next. First and foremost, we're starting up at the Y a new round of Ready, Set, Goal. It's virtual conditioning and mentoring from Olympians and Paralympians. Second, we've got an all-girls ball hockey clinic coming up. I'm sure Molly would be excited to know about that in April, hosted by the Kings and Cal State LA. There are swimming lessons at your local Y you can get involved in today. And then our next panel discussion, which is on March 8th. So tune in for that too. You can find more information about all of these things online at ymcala.org. Again, thanks to everybody for being a part of this very important, interesting, and fun discussion. It's really been a great time for all of you and all of us. Thanks.